Hi, my name is Marya and I'm a mobile app developer, and I've been spending some sessions working with JB Rainsberger to build him an app that will help him record his practice sessions, his bowling practice sessions. So
Yep.
we've made quite a bit of progress, and I think JB is actually pretty happy. We're using an LLM for this purpose instead of hand coding it. Um, I gotta say, I feel like it's going fast, which is very pleasant. And since
Yes, I think if we would just stop talking about what we're doing and just do it, I think everything we've done so
it would be
far would
done
probably be
by
done in
now.
about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I have been using this app now for a solid month of practice sessions. I've got about 1,160 throws in there. So we're gathering some data, and I'm getting really a clearer picture of the kinds of features. Like there's enough there that we could stop now and it would be fine. But I'm getting a clearer picture of which features really would sort of round it off and make it nicer to use. And so that's the direction that we're going to start going in today.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Um,
There's one specific feature that you'd like to have added, right, for the exporting.
yeah,
Ex
I thought maybe let's sort of switch gears and try to do something a little smaller and simpler. So uh, if you're looking at the screen and seeing a bunch of stuff here about testing, we're just going to ignore that for now. We went down that road. It was interesting. We'll talk about that later, I promise. But for now, so what we've done is sort of gone back. That's on a branch. That's safe. We'll talk about it another time. One really simple thing. So one of the original ideas, or you might call it product decisions that we made early on, was I wanted this app to be focused on recording practice sessions and giving really light feedback, but not becoming a powerhouse of doing analysis. The idea would then be I would export the information to a format that I could then import into a spreadsheet or slice and dice with the tools such as JQ to be able to do analysis. And I've done that. I've done things like, uh, something was interesting in that practice session. Let me analyze 10 rows at a time and look at trends and see what that looks like. And rather than trying to build bolt, pun not intended, um, rather than bolt those features on to here, it makes a lot more sense to just use a spreadsheet for that. I've been doing that, and that's actually working really well. So at this point, there's just a couple of small things that would make the app a little bit more pleasant to use. Let's add those. And a simple one is when I export let's see here on screen, when I export the session summary, what I get is one row per session with counts. So there were this many throws, this many strikes, this many left corners, this many right corners, and so on. And that's great. But one other thing I'd like to have is a quick view of the actual sequence of throws.
Okay.
More of a human readable thing. I don't think I'm going to use a spreadsheet to do any operations on it, but it might be nice when I'm looking at multiple sessions to get sort of a vague idea. Oh, yeah, if I look at sort of the middle of that session, I remember that long string of strikes, or I remember that long string of missing the middle.
Okay.
And just seeing all the throws as a big long string
Yeah.
could be useful for like human level scanning. And then if I want to get into detailed calculations, that's when I export the detailed throws and I get one row per throw and I can do all kinds of spreadsheet magic. So
Okay.
that's what I'd like to build today.
Okay.
And so
So
now, how do we
yeah.
tell Bolt to do
So
that?
we're just gonna have Bolt do that, right? So we could, in
Yes,
theory, kind of just tinker with the code, but I think it does
right.
make sense to have.
And one reason that it made sense, I think, for us to do this in this video series is because again, this is similar to a thing that's come up a couple of times before. I know how to do this by hand.
Yeah.
Um, But that's not what we're here for. We're here to
Right.
try to experiment with doing it another way. So let's see what happens if we try to tell Bolt to do it. So I've switched into discuss mode for now because I just want to see what its plan is before we say go ahead. And this is something that we kind of this is something I've learned that as the project goes on, I want to protect the code that's there. So I
Right.
don't want Bolt to just run off half-cocked and change things.
Start
I'd
doing
rather
things. Yeah.
exactly get a clearer picture of what it intends to do before saying, yes, do this part, or yes, do all of this, or no, what are you crazy? So let's see. I want a new feature related to exporting a session summary as CSV. Um, when exporting a session, when exporting, sorry, session summaries, I want an extra column field. I don't know which, let's say field. I want an extra field that shows the entire sequence of throws from that session. It's enough to um, print the symbols for all the throws in order, in sequence. That feels kind of vague. Does that seem
No, I
good
think it's
enough?
fine. I think it'll
All
figure, I
right.
think it'll understand what you want.
Presumably, yes. And this is something that even as we do this now, I find that I still need to uh, fight might be stronger than I mean it, but I need to fight a little bit my instinct to be clearer about what I mean because I'm so accustomed to humans not understanding.
Yeah.
And I
So
guess,
in my experience, the LLM actually
yeah,
will often like jump to a conclusion that is correct. Like it actually interprets my
yeah,
vague suggestion the right way.
yeah. And I think that especially one of the things that I have to remember and that I am slowly getting used to remembering is that iterating with these tools is really quick compared to iterating with a human. So if I explain this to a human and they don't understand me, the amount of effort it takes to come to shared understanding seems higher and feels more intense. Whereas here, you know, if it doesn't quite, Bolt doesn't quite understand me, the worst thing that happens is I go make coffee, come back, and when I have energy and try again. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the iterating is pretty quick. So let's see what kind of plan it comes up with. Okay, so it knows how to add a field. It's doing join by comma, which is not what I want. So, okay,
Uh-huh.
good news is I speak enough JavaScript to read that
Yeah.
and see that that's not what I want.
I think it's
So
interesting that it's actually
that's,
got a little code in there, which I think for a non-programmer might,
yes,
it depends on how savvy the person is, but that would
exactly. But
possibly,
even the non-code sample part, it's still using very JavaScripty functional
yes.
programmery language by saying and joining their outcome properties, as
Yeah,
opposed to articulating that in a way that a non-programmer would understand. So
right.
that's almost what I want. Um, when joining the throw outcomes, uh, don't use a separator, but instead just concatenate. It's making me want to talk to it like a programmer now. Instead, just concatenate all the throw symbols together into a long string. And now it's doing join with empty
Yes.
string, which is what I did, which is really nice. Okay. I
That
think
gonna
that's what we
is that
want.
gonna mess up your current? So you've done some exporting. It says
Yeah.
the throw sequence is generated. It currently uses join with commas. Where would that have been? Have you done exports that actually have those throw sequences with commas?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that. So is it okay? Oh, now I want to read the previous plan a little bit more carefully. I can't tell whether that behavior is already there
Yeah.
or Bolt is articulating its second plan, assuming that the first plan is already done, rather than putting the two together. How interesting. Knowing that Bolt has a nice revert feature, we can just say, make it so, and see what happens.
Okay.
So let's do that. And maybe it just, it again acts a little bit like a junior programmer who's a little too eager and is maybe not as clear. What's in their head is jumbled together. They'll figure it out when they get there, but they might have difficulty explaining it to somebody else.
Okay.
I like the example that it described, and it
Yeah.
does show what I want. Because of course, this is one of the things that I built by hand when I did this in Python with
Right.
briefcase and toga and all that good stuff. This makes it easy to see the exact pattern of throws for each session while analyzing the data in the spreadsheet application. Indeed. So I don't know how much of that reflects it remembering it having context from prior conversations, or if that's a new inference it made.
Yeah, I think it's broken. I want to say it's broken right now because look, it keeps
Yeah,
reloading
we've seen this
the
before. We've seen
page
this before.
and it's kind of hanging around,
Yeah.
loading, reloading. Oh, is something happening? Yep. I think it might be hanging up.
Yep. And I think the last time we did this, we reloaded the page
Yeah, if you just
in
reload
the
the page.
browser and it was in a half done state. So let's try
Yeah.
that again. Okay. This is the equivalent of reload the IDE, I guess.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious to see what happens. It will rebuild the app. And now we know by now that we can at least watch its progress down here. Bolt puts check marks here, but as we saw previously, that doesn't necessarily mean that it actually finished. This is part of the confident nonsense risk with
Yeah.
LLMs. All right, so we had to wait a little while for Bolt. Bolt got stuck, which sometimes happens. So we reloaded. It had to re-import the project and rebuild everything, and it took several seconds, maybe a minute or so. But we're back, and Bolt claims to have done what we wanted it to do. So let's see. What I don't know is whether export is going to work at all. Oh,
Potential
problem.
problem.
Okay, so I think this is
The
the thing we've
problem,
seen before
right?
where it can't write to a file.
Yeah.
So we can't test this.
Yeah.
So there's two things that we can do. One of them is build the app and run it on the phone and see what happens. And
Yeah.
that's boring, so people aren't going to watch that. But in the meantime, we can take a look at the code and see what it did. So let's just move the preview out of the way. And by now we know that what we're looking at is the export tab. And can we just sort of quickly glean
Right.
that it did something? So it talked about changing something called generateCSV, and that actually might be in, is it in utils? No. Let's look for generateCSV. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
that's what we're looking for. Okay, so let's go back here. That's funny. See, that's just dumb,
Huh.
right? If there are no sessions, then shouldn't we get an empty CSV file? Wouldn't that be less jarring? Like I'm not,
Well,
my
so
immediate
so
reaction
actually,
is this is dumb.
so that may be dumb, but can we actually diff this with the current version? Or there is an export.tsx, right? That's just this screen, isn't it?
Yes, we're just right now we're just sort of looking at it to see
You want to diff
we're
it with the
looking for the
current
thing that it
version?
added.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it might be easier to diff,
Yeah.
to diff it with the
I was
code.
looking to see whether this would be quick enough first. And in fact, we can see here that it didn't
It doesn't look
the
like the
changes
headers
didn't
are
apply.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just to be sure, I don't see anything here either. So we can even search for what do they call it? I think they called sequence. Yeah. So Bolt indeed got
Huh.
stuck and it didn't even do
It
anything.
didn't regenerate it. Okay, so
Okay. You got stuck the first time you tried to make this change. Please try again. So I think this is only the second time we've had to do this. You're
yeah,
right. Let me try again.
with the
I
proper.
know I'm right. Well, it thinks it was successful. Let's
Okay,
see.
that looks
Okay.
better. That's
Yeah. So let me just put that back in discussion mode for my own protection. Let's go back over here and let's again search for generate
all right.
CSV
Yay.
and see whether we now have evidence that it actually did the right thing. Aha, there is throw
Yeah.
sequence.
Yeah.
There is throw sequence. And how do you compute throw sequence?
Yeah.
Yep, I suspect that's what it would be.
Okay.
Um, okay. Again, I don't love the design choice because we have nice abstraction here and horrifying details there, but one thing at a time. This now gives me some vague confidence to go test it. So unfortunately, the only way that we can test it is to build it.
Yeah.
So I'll
Or
need to,
we can try scanning with the QR code, that might work.
oh, yes.
If we can, is that under the
I suppose
preview?
we
I
can try
forgot where
that.
the,
So where is the, yes, device preview. All right. So I suppose, yes, this will be quicker. So let me try.
no, I think I need Expo installed and I don't have that installed on this phone.
I think I still do. So I'm going to see if I can do it in the, yes, there's Expo Go. I was going to say, give me 10 seconds. And if I can't do it in 10 seconds, then we abandon ship. That's my usual way of doing things. Okay, let's see what we have on my phone.
Okay.
Do. And then to be sure this works as expected, then I would need to download, build, install, and I'm sure it'll work just fine.
Right.
This is taking quite a long time, but I don't know if it's been a while since we've done this, so I don't even remember if that's
Yeah.
normal,
Yeah.
whether it should take closer to 10 seconds or closer to a minute.
Might be a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
Well,
first
let me just,
time.
yeah. That's true. Actually, I probably don't have an Expo Go version of the app installed anymore because I've just been building the real thing and
Building.
installing it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and that's one real downside, of course, to any of these kinds of platforms is that if you can really only test it by running the application on a real device, the feedback loop slows down a ton. This is one of the reasons why we would like to explore how to at least do some unit testing. This is exactly the kind of feature where unit testing would have made this really easy.
Right.
Um, but we took some steps in the direction of trying to do test-driven development with Bolt, and we got stuck. So I suppose what I would do here is um, direct Bolt to separate the calculation of the CSV data from the rest of the app,
Yep.
and then either ask it to write unit tests, hoping that it did a better job than it did when it wrote tests for the components, for the
Yeah.
screen components, or just write those tests myself because that's a thing I know how to do.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I mean, looking at the code, it's pretty clear to me that this code is going to be correct. And I
Yeah.
did just get the something went wrong. So I
Oh,
will,
okay.
let me just take a quick look here. So unfortunately, this is part of working with Bolt is this. Um, I suspect I'm not going to make this work. So I think let's try this one more time. Can I get a no? Let's try this device preview one more time. Come on, preview, device preview, QR code. And if this fails in the first 10 seconds, then I assume it's going to time out and fail. I didn't count, but it wouldn't be surprising if it took exactly 60 seconds to fail, and that's a timeout. All right, well, people don't need to watch us flail away at testing. I think
Yeah.
this went pretty smoothly. I'm fairly confident this is going to work. And if the next video is us cleaning up after this feature, then you'll know it didn't work. And if it's us building a new feature, then you'll know that it went just fine. So I think we can just stop there.
Okay.